Seed is officially here with the Zenless Zone Zero 2.2 update. She has the big damage numbers that can back up her attack speciality, but she also has buffs that kind of classifies her as a support. So if you've been looking for a guide on Seed, I got you. I'm going to cover everything you need to know, down to leveling materials, skill priority, damage rotation, on top of your W engine and drive disc options, and best teams to use her on. We have a lot to cover, so let's not waste any time and dive right into it. If you are debating on pulling for Seed, her strengths do include being able to buff another attack unit, specifically their attack and crit damage, and there's more to that where she can actually buff herself as well. Number 2, like some other DPS characters, she has a very strong basic attack, and there's a new drive disc set to back that up, which I'll talk about here in a bit. And number 3, she has multiple attack animations that are difficult to interrupt or just have complete invulnerability. As a quick overview, Seed is an electric attack agent under the Obel Squad faction with a focus on attack, crit rate, and crit damage. And here are all the materials you're going to need to level her up. For the attack chips, come under combat simulation, go under agent promotion, and then do the attack drill. Same thing with the W engine. You're going to need an attack one, which you're going to have to do the attack polarizer test for. For what skills prioritize upgrading first on Seed, definitely her core skills. This is how we're actually going to buff her and another attack agent. But for our regular skills, definitely do your basic attack first, then X special, your ultimate, and then lastly you can do assist and dodge. And here are all the materials you're going to need to upgrade all of these skills. For the electric chips, come back under combat simulation, go under agent skill, and then do the current test. For expert challenge material, you're going to have to fight the lumberjack for the mortal cleave, and again you're going to need 60 of these. And for a notorious hunt boss, you're going to have to fight the miasma priest for the exuvia of refinement, and again you're going to need 9 of these. To maximize Seed's damage and take full advantage of her buffs, we need to understand exactly how her kit works. First, let's talk about Seed's attacks and steel charge. That bar under her character icon is steel charge, and you accumulate it by hitting enemies with your skills such as your basic attack, your X special, and your ultimate. She has a basic attack 4, and when you're attacked between the retreat of the 3rd hit before the 4th, it'll actually trigger an automatic dodge. If you have enough energy, you can perform her X special attack, Raining Iron Petals, where you'll actually enter flight mode with Seed, and he'll launch a barrage of missiles. And what's cool is you can actually move in all 4 directions when you use this attack. If you consume 60 energy in one flight, it will automatically trigger what's called basic attack, Falling Petal Slaughter. This attack can also be triggered after the 4th hit of that basic attack that I mentioned, a dodge counter, a quick assist, or an assist follow-up. Basically, this is just an extra attack where Seed Senior comes in and punches the target, dealing some big damage. Her chain attack, Tempest of Frosty Petals, is easily the coolest combo attack in my opinion. Even though it doesn't really add anything to her kit, it does deal massive damage. But moving on to the ultimate, Clockwork Garden Bloom. Again, when you have enough decibels, you can activate the ultimate. Seed will actually pilot the mech and rain down a bunch of missiles, dealing a lot of damage, obviously. And after the skill, you will accumulate 60 steel charge. Once you accumulate enough steel charge where you see the icon change from blue to yellow, we can now perform her big attack, basic attack, Falling Petals Downfall. Once that steel charge bar is yellow and you perform either the basic attack Falling Petals Slaughter, which is that mech punch, or use her ultimate, you can press or hold your basic attack button to consume steel charge and perform these attack sequences. The mech will initially fire some sweeping shots while backing up. That'll consume some steel charge, and then it will do the follow-up, which is the jumping smash attack, which will consume the other portion of steel charge. And again, this attack does massive damage, and what's cool is that it can actually stun bosses out of their attacks. This all leads back into her core passive Flower Chain Protocol, which is where we're going to get the buffs. The attack agent in your squad with the highest initial attack will be considered Seed's Vanguard. When the Vanguard unleashes an X special attack, Seed gains the Onslaught status, increasing Seed's attack by 1000 and crit damage by 30%. Vice versa as well. When Seed unleashes the next special attack, the Vanguard gains Direct Strike status, increasing the Vanguard's attack by 1000 and crit damage by 30%. When you have both the Direct Strike and Onslaught statuses, Seed and the Vanguard simultaneously gain the Besiege status, increasing damage by 25%. As an example, I have Seed and Soldier Zero Ambi as my Vanguard, and under their health and energy bars, there are 2 buffs there. Again, the one that's counting down on Seed is Onslaught, the one that's counting down on Ambi is Direct Strike, and the Seed helmet is the Besiege status. Upon entering battle, both Seed and the Vanguard will receive all of these statuses. Direct Strike and Onslaught status last for 40 seconds, and repeated triggers will refresh the duration. When the Vanguard consumes energy as the active character, or when Seed consumes energy, for every 1 point of energy consumed, Seed will recover 5 points of her steel charge. So basically, as long as you're consistently using your X special attack on both Seed and your Vanguard, you can have these buffs up pretty much indefinitely. And also, anytime you use your X special attack to consume energy, it will give Seed steel charge so she can use her big basic attack. Now for the additional ability Surprise Strike, all you need is another attack agent to proc this. That's it. When Seed deals damage as the active character, it restores 2 energy to the Vanguard. This effect can trigger once every second. Both the basic attacks that involve the mech, including the punch and the big follow-up attack, on top of Seed's ultimate, deal 30% increased damage and ignore 25% of the enemy electric res. I know we covered a lot of terminology with Seed's kit, so if you're still a little confused, let me give you a simple damage rotation. Number 1, take advantage of the attack agent synergy. Obviously, your third agent is going to be either a stun or a support character, which I will talk about best teams here in a minute. If both Seed and your attack agent are built well and they deal good damage on their own, the combo is just going to be even better. Use their X special attacks, buff each other, get the attack and crit damage increase, and once you have both of the statuses, you get Besiege, now you get a 25% damage increase. It's literally that simple. As long as you consistently use their X special attacks, you will have these buffs. Number 2, we obviously want to accumulate steel charge, right? Again, using Seed's basic attack, her X special, her ultimate, but even by consuming energy with your Vanguard, you know, your other attack character, using that X special attack, that also gives Seed steel charge points. And again, with her additional ability, when Seed deals damage as the active character, she will restore energy to the Vanguard. So there's like a cycle of energy with that. And lastly, number 3, once you have enough steel charge, either hold your basic attack or use some sort of basic attack or X special attack combo to consume it and perform the big sequence of attacks that deal massive damage. It's pretty simple. Use both Seed and your Vanguard's attacks, use your X specials to get the buffs, and then once you have enough steel charge, hold your basic attack button to perform Seed's big attack. For Seed's best W engine options, her signature, Cordis Germina, is really good. You get a base attack and a crit rate percentage bump, and with this perk, Sprouting Core, you get another crit rate increase of 15%. Note this is at rank 1. When the equipper deals damage with a basic attack or X special attack, they gain 1 stack of a buff. Each stack increases the equipper's electric damage by 12.5% up to 2 stacks, each stack lasting 40 seconds, and again, the duration of each is calculated separately, can trigger once per use of the skill. At 2 stacks, the wearer's basic attack and ultimate ignore 20% of the enemy's defense. Just like how Seed's buffs last for 40 seconds, her engine kind of coincides with that, and what's pretty cool is that this engine would actually work on characters like Soldier Zero Ambi, Haramasa, and Anton. Another S-rank option would be Soldier Zero Ambi's signature, Severed Innocence. You get a base attack and a crit damage percentage bump, and with this perk, Tranquil Blossom, you get a crit damage increase of 30%. Note, this is at rank 1. When the equipper lands a hit with a basic attack, special attack, or aftershock, they gain 1 stack of a buff. Each stack increases the equipper's crit damage by an additional 10%, stacking up to 3 times. The effect will last 30 seconds with each calculated separately, and can only be triggered once per use of the skill. With all 3 stacks, the equipper's electric damage increases by 20%. Another S-rank option would be Soldier 11's signature, the Brimstone, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend Haramasa's signature, the Zanshin Herb Case, just because you have to use dash attacks, which Seed doesn't really do. Being able to proc the Anomaly and Stun to get the increased crit rate is fine, but again, this engine is not going to be as effective on Seed. If you don't have any of those engines, there are a couple of A-rank ones you can use. If you've been getting the Battle Pass and have rank 5 Cannon Rotor, this is a decent one. If you're able to get rank 5 Marcado Desire from the event that it was in back in the day, it's pretty good too. Anton's signature, Drill Rig Red Access, is actually pretty good. The only problem is that on the main stat you have energy regen. There's no extra attack, crit rate, or crit damage. If you got the Gilded Blossom back during 1.0 through its event, it's pretty good, or you could also use the Starlight engine. For Seed's best disc drives, we're looking at the new 4-piece Dawn's Bloom that came with the 2.2 update with either 2-piece Woodpecker Electro, Branch and Blade Song, or Thunder Metal. If you didn't see with the 2.2 update, we have 2 new disc drives, first up being Dawn's Bloom, and the second one being Moonlit Lullaby, which you can farm at the new routine cleanup Iron Law, and Outlaws. Dawn's Bloom is essentially Seed's signature disc. It has a heavy focus around basic attack damage, which will also improve the damage of characters like Ellen, Miyabi, and other agents that focus around basic attack damage. At 2 pieces, you get a 15% basic attack damage increase, and at 4 pieces, you get another 20% basic attack damage increase, and when equipped on an attack character, using an X special attack or ultimate will further increase your basic attack damage by 20% for 25 seconds. As you can tell, this disc is not only going to buff Seed's basic attacks, but her main basic attack with Seed Senior having the backup missile attack and the jumping attack as well. You pretty much get that guaranteed basic attack damage increase, which at the end of the day is a 55% increase. Now, if you don't have Seed Signature or you just didn't get a lot of crit rate rolls on your disc, you can just do 2-piece Woodpecker Electro for the 8% crit rate increase. But if you're good on crit rate, you could focus on getting the crit damage increase from Branch and Blade Song, which is 16%. For me, I actually ended up having some better Thunder Metal disc with both crit rate and crit damage for Seed, so I'm just going to take the 10% electric damage increase. For our disc main stats, at our 4th disc, we're looking at either crit rate or crit damage. For our 5th disc, I would definitely say electric damage bonus. Yep, some people do use attack percentage. And at our 6th disc, we obviously want attack percentage. And for our substats, we're only looking for 3. Crit rate, crit damage, and any attack we can get. For Seed's best team options, boy, do we have a couple. If you're free to play, you can actually pair her with Billy and Nicole with the Boo Resher. If you want this Seed Oval Squad team, pairing her up with Soldier Zero Ambi and Trigger with Mercury is your best bet right now. You could even replace Soldier Zero Ambi with Soldier 11, or in the second half of the update, we're going to be getting Orphe and Magus, who is a fire attack character, which can be put in there as well. You could even replace Trigger with Astra. Again, Astra will be able to buff the team on top of that as well, and you could replace Soldier Zero Ambi with somebody like Evelyn too. Even then, you can have another stun character like Jufufu in there as well, who can increase their attack and crit damage even more. Even tossing in a character like Pulchra would work too. Even going back to Soldier 11, you could have Lucy as your support to match up. Those are just some of the combos I've come up with, so if you have a different one, definitely let me know in the comments. Lastly, let's talk about Seed's Mindscape Cinema, and is it worth getting multiple copies of her? M1, Hibernation Period. It actually reduces the amount of steel charge needed and consumed when using her basic attack Falling Petals Downfall, which is her big attack. The amount of steel charge required to gain 1 chance to quickly use the Mech Punch attack, again Falling Petal Slaughter, is reduced to 100, and gain an additional 40 steel charge when you enter the battlefield and 20 when you use your ultimate, and it increases your basic attack Falling Petals Downfall crit damage specifically by 30%. That's a lot. M2, Light Absorption Technique. When Besiege is active for an agent, that agent's damage ignores 20% of defense. When you activate your X special, after consuming a total of 60 energy, you continue consuming energy until you hit 120. So you can do double now. For every 5 energy consumed by the X special attack, the following basic attack, Falling Petal Slaughter, again the Mech Punch, the damage increases by 5%. So you can get a huge percentage damage increase for that punch attack. M3, A Story of Sprouting, is just a +2 level bonus to her skills. M4, Fragrant Tune. When Seed's Besiege status buff is active, her decibel generation rate increases by 10% and ultimate damage increases by 20%. M5, Time to Bloom, is another +2 level bump to all of her skills. And lastly, M6, Theory of the Heart. Seed's crit damage increases by 50%. That's just a base bonus. When using the basic attack Falling Petal Slaughter, again the punch, fires 3 additional laser beams, each dealing 165% of attack as damage. This effect can trigger once every 3 seconds. Out of all of them, M1 and M2 give the most value and is the best stopping point. M4 is the weakest of the bunch here, and even though M6 does give you a permanent 50% crit damage buff and the extra attacks from that basic attack, M1 and 2 just have so much more value. M1 giving the steel charge quality of life reduction and increase from other attacks, plus her basic attack crit damage also gets that increase. And M2 pretty much having a guaranteed way to ignore 20% of the enemy's defense and also make that basic attack follow-up punch after consuming energy with the X special attack deal even more damage is super nice. Like, if you consume all 120 energy, you get a 120% damage multiplier for that Mech Punch attack, which is crazy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Seed build guide and kit breakdown. I can admit that I was a Seed hater before the live stream came out where we learned about her kit and her buffs, and then right afterwards I was like, dang, she's actually going to be pretty good. We're going to see more combat with the Mech involved. Seed Senior, I love it. You know what? We are going to pull for Seed. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about Seed in the comments, and let me know how your pulls are going for both Seed and Trigger. It took all of my pity to get Seed. Luckily, I did win the 50-50, but when I went to do her engine, I was at 0 pity, and I got her engine and won the 75-25. So I got extremely lucky this time around. So hopefully I can pass that luck on to my Orphe and Magus pulls in the second half of the update. In any event, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on any other Zenless Zone Zero content we have coming out on the channel. If you didn't know, we live stream here on the channel and also over on Twitch. That link will be in the description. There are drops occasionally for Zenless Zone Zero, so if you want some extra polychrome and some other rewards, be sure to tune in to the stream. Also, be sure to join my Discord. If you got a great stat roll, if you have a good build going for a character, if you have a clip you want to share, we have an entire channel dedicated to Zenless Zone Zero. But we also talk about a variety of other games on top of PC tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you want to help support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. Now, if you don't know what a membership is, it's essentially like a Twitch subscription. Granted, it's cheaper over here on YouTube, but you're going to get access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other cool stuff, including early access to all my long form videos. So if you'd like more information, all you have to do is press the join button next subscribe, and that'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next video.